And we are live. All right, great. We are here. Hi, and welcome back to the Spoken Word with Raz. We've been gone a while,
A
but
long fucking while.
we are back, and today is a special Thanksgiving edition. Because Thanksgiving's tomorrow from the point we do. And today we are joined by me, Raz, your host, the wonderful, wonderful Ashley,
Oh,
the Queen herself, Morgan,
Hello.
whose mic is cutting out.
Oh, sorry. Ooh. It would happen right now. It would just happen right now.
And finally, the most loyal of puppy dogs, Happy.
Good evening, people. At
Oh,
least
right.
good something.
Okay, so we are now here, and wow. So, turn you guys up. Okay, there we go. Doing the TV, all that other stuff. Yeah.
properly.
So we have been gone a month, guys.
It's been a long minute.
Life, just kind of life.
It's been happening at great speeds over the last month. I will take responsibility. It's
Yeah.
mostly been my fault because I've been super duper busy, and now I'm not for like the next 2 months, which is wonderful. So and I had the long burst. Now I'm going to have a long burst of quiet. So that shan't happen again. My bad, everybody. My bad. It's good to be back though.
And we're always happy to have you back.
I missed you
Thanks.
a lot.
I missed you too. How you been?
I mean, there's been some
That was
discovery
convincing,
happening. Been some
right?
discovery, but that's about it, really.
Okay. Okay. I mean, that's not bad news.
Okay,
And we'll just move on. All right. So, I'll go back to my corner.
yeah, we can get more into that later.
Okay.
And Happy, how have you been?
Been busy with school and such. Well, uni.
Right?
How are those computers doing?
So far I'm about almost 50% done with all the practical stuff. So a little bit more and I'll have at least the bare minimums needed on the practicals to pass.
Cool.
Nice.
And then exam.
Only 50% of the computers exploded.
Oh no, I'm doing compilers.
So all of the computers exploded.
I was literally about to say,
Well,
like,
so far my code is 100% according to what the teacher asked. So
you haven't currently destroyed the server, deleted everybody's dissertations for the entire year, nothing like that, nothing.
not that I couldn't.
Not yet.
There is still time left in the year.
Oh man. Yeah. Basically, crazy times. Halloween passed a month ago. God, we haven't done this.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute.
Yeah. Uh. Yeah. Anything. So, anyways, tomorrow is it is one of America's oldest traditions. Turkey
Turkey
Day.
Day!
Thanksgiving.
Oh my god, the timing on that, it was like, we couldn't, even if we tried to plan it, we couldn't have, like, managed that. I'm well impressed.
And I won't lie, it is my favorite holiday. For the first one is very simple. I get to see a lot of my family I don't get to see. through the year. But let's actually face it, the most important thing is leftovers. It's the food. God, and trust me, we know how to eat. Make giant feast, cut it all down, and then have it for like a week or two. And it
It's
just
always
gets
someone
better.
a month later, still that the turkey in the fridge, some cranberry jam at the side, and you're like, damn.
I never feel that way.
Oh,
Even
that's
without
how
some
I
bread.
feel.
Yeah, but that's also because your family didn't Thanksgiving
Yeah.
because they suck. It's like 4th of July.
Uh,
What?
I mean,
well, I do
that.
know a few ways to salvage to work with scraps.
Yeah, you throw it on. You throw it on some bread and you make a sandwich.
A little
No.
bit more elaborate and a little bit more new dish.
Well,
Sure.
as
We
I
have
discussed with you earlier, we fry it, so you carry on happy.
Yeah, no, we basically have a type of how would I put it? Uh, so we have a recipe which is specifically for codfish, but you can basically replace the codfish with almost anything else, and it works. And it's a great recipe for using like whatever is left of barbecued chicken or something. You know, you just strip the meat off the chicken and then you cook it as if it was the cod in the recipe.
Right. That's
And
cool.
it's basically a sort of scrambled eggs with the. I have no idea what the term for this in English is, but it's basically the chips fries when they're like really thin
Yeah.
and small. That sort of thing. The eggs,
Wait,
that thing mixed with whatever ingredient you're trying to
wait.
salvage.
Fried potatoes? Just saying fried potatoes, aren't you?
No, I mean it's. It would be a hell of a lot easier if I could just show it to you. So I'm just going to post it on the Discord as soon as I find it.
If it's fried potatoes, I'm gonna smack you.
I reckon it might just be French fries.
No, I don't think it's French fries. Like, he said the small. So in America, so here we have a thing: cut down potatoes down into slices and throw them in a frying pan, and just
Not a
turn them golden
slice.
brown. Not
Not
a
a
slice.
slice.
Okay.
Oh.
So, like, if you were to
Uh,
take chips and then you cut chips up really small.
We're about to find out. He's looking for it.
it's in the chat in the Discord.
Hang on, I'm gonna.
What the
hang on.
hell?
Oh, I know what these are. We don't really have a name for them either.
Yeah, but we have a name for them.
It looks.
They're
Yeah,
no,
they are fries. There are fries, but it's like if you took the wavy fries and you just split them up.
those are very okay.
They're like little teeny tiny
No,
fries,
they're like
little
Yes.
they're like
mini
veggie
fries.
straws, but with actual fries.
Yeah.
I
Like
feel sorry
hash
for
browns.
anyone listening to this and trying to understand what we're talking about because I don't think there is. I mean, like, we don't actually have that in the UK, so I don't know what the translation would be, and unless someone in America knows one of our fellow Yankee Doodle Dandies knows what the translation would be and what that would be called in America, I don't know that it actually. But I don't think that's a particular potato preparation that we have a name for.
Kind
We
of makes
basically
me
call
think
it.
of
We
like
basically
some
call it.
chip bread. Kind of like
Okay.
We basically call it straw potato
Draw potato. See, that makes sense.
because
Yeah.
they're really tiny.
Yeah, we actually have these, but we don't make them fresh. They come in a can, and they're a little harder. like we do have these. They're kind of like hash brown, like
Yeah,
the shredded hash brown, because that's all a hash brown is just shredded potato all
Yeah.
smashed together.
See,
yeah.
now
Um,
that to
Basically,
me,
okay,
this
sorry.
thing is sold over here like in
giant
regular,
cans.
just potato chips.
Yeah, like in a
Like
frozen
a
packet.
bag of Doritos.
Yeah.
Oh, ours is a cooking.
Yeah.
That's a
Like
cooking
crisp.
thing for us.
So hang on now.
Yeah.
This is the thing where it's like this is where the language like crosses over. So when you say chips, are you talking about like potato chips that are just small versions of it, so they're like crunchy on the outside, soft on the inside, and you cook them, or are they chips as in like what we would call crisps, like Lay's crisps, like a type of crisp that
Yes,
is just a
those kind
particular
of crisps.
Right, okay, see now that makes more sense to me because we do have that sort of thing, but they come in like Indian spiced crisp mixes. So they're quite spicy when you get them. But they're not like it's not like a mainstream thing that you'd get everywhere, but I think I have seen them when I've been abroad. So I get it. I'm on the right page. Yeah. So that to translate to Raz and Ash, more like chips. So like a bag of chips when you would go and buy a bag of chips at the shop, not like tiny little hash browns, which are like hot cooked potatoy things.
Well,
These are like
That's
fried,
exactly what
dried
I got.
in a foil bag that you would go and buy from the shop.
Morgan, I understood that. I'm trying to
I
explain.
literally said it sounded like some chip brands we have.
Yeah, but the problem is that we don't make the in bag trips like that. We actually use cooking to exist.
Right, okay.
But
I
ours
just
come in
sound like
like
a dick
big
then, don't
cookie.
I?
But, like, yeah, we understood what he was saying, and
Well, I
also
didn't. All right, so I was explaining it for myself. Fuck you.
hash browns here are just raw shredded potatoes that we mash together and cook. You don't put any
Yeah.
flour on them or
No,
anything.
I think they've got like some kind of gum in them to hold them together here, and then you just fry them. Or if they come like frozen, you just whack them in the oven. So
Here we make fresh stuff. The heating the oil and actually cook them. The potatoes hold together because they become fried.
yeah,
Have you ever seen
I'd,
American hash
I,
brown? I'm not even talking about like the bricks of hash brown. Have you ever seen like American hash brown?
I don't know. No, maybe I don't know. Probably not.
Wow. Okay, so
Like we're
my
having
Google is
the
not working. My Google is not working.
right. We're definitely gonna have to link the pictures to all of this in underneath the video for the sheer fact that whoever is if anyone is listening, they're gonna be like, "What are
Fuck.
these people talking about?"
Well, again, people do not come here necessarily to, you know,
to hear
Still,
wisdom
context is relevant.
and insight.
we
But
do that like 50% of the time. The other half of the time is us, bumbling through conversations, okay?
Me proving what an actual genuine idiot I actually am.
I mean, to be fair, I'm not always the smartest. But
But this is what I mean. That there is a cultural translation though, because
yeah.
if you give this different things the same name as someone gives something completely different in another country, you're gonna get completely lost. Like,
Well, yeah. Yeah, like I said, I have done at least with Britain, a lot of Europe. I've talked to a lot of different people, and I know there's the German and stuff for a bunch of things. But like the funniest thing will always be the crisps and biscuits to Americans' chips and cookies, because biscuits are a whole different thing in America. Whole different thing. Like
well, cookies
I,
and biscuits are different things.
well, they are different things, but you call cookies biscuits.
They're a type of biscuit, but they're specifically cookies. but but
oh dear.
but no, the chips crisps thing is the one that really bothers me because we literally like turn the words around. So what you call chips, we call crisps. What we call chips, you call crisps. No, you call fries. So it's like it's literally like that. It's that translation for me is something that I will always trip up over. And then I don't know whether or not over in Portugal, when Happy's using the English term for it, if he's using your English term or whether he's using my English term.
Yeah, my confusion got slightly confusing because I was trying to pick terms in a way that wasn't as confusing as I could make it.
Funny
And
enough,
I'm just easily confused. It's not your fault. Don't worry. It's me. It's not you. It's me.
I'm gonna point out for a long time. See, I'm Morgan's age. Actually, I don't know fully like everything, but the funniest thing is fish and chips. I did not know what fish and chips were for a long time, so I thought they were potato chips and fish. Or a fried potato, like, not necessarily like a potato chip out of bag, but a fried potato, right? Like the slices, like I
Yeah.
was just telling you about?
Yeah.
That's what I thought it was something you put in the oven, to cook up you cook them to a
No.
crispy. No, it's french fries. And I went, "What?
But they're
Not
not
even a
because
chip."
Because
Okay.
French fries are skinny. So French fries are skinny. So like we never did chips like you do French fries. Like that is something that we've adopted back from you. But
Okay.
chips are chunky. So
Yeah, like
they should
wedges.
be yeah,
Like
no,
wedges.
but not like wedges, they're square. Like, so
Oh,
they're not like, so you cut them into square shapes and then the ends are like wonky at either end. It's like a bit
yeah.
obtuse because it's the edge of and then depending on which chip shop you like to go to, whether or not you like a firm, crispy chip or a soggy chip, like, it's all about there's a whole nuance to fish and chips in the UK. It's like, it's amazing how something just deep fried and battered can have so much nuance to
I
and
don't
that's effectively
yeah.
what it is. It is just the same thing across the entire country, and yet we have like fish and chip awards,
Yeah.
like the nationwide fish and chip awards specifically for the best fish and chips in the country. It's bizarre. I'm not not going to lie. I'm not overly a big fan.
Oh, man. It Like, but that's the whole point, is this is the thing I love, and I won't lie to you, I used to enjoy messing with my British friends on language. There's just something funny triggering them
Yeah,
on,
it's again this denial of the fact that we used to be important. We used to matter. And no, we
yeah.
don't. So it's like, oh, you've taken our language. That was our language, like, and then you've taken words and you've changed them, and then tell us that we're spelling them wrong.
Oh, no,
Like color, like you change the word color, and then you tell us we spell it wrong, and it's like,
no,
no,
actually, it's the funniest, it's the other way around. You changed it on us. We actually are using the word you used, and then you took the French spelling.
that sounds about right.
A lot of the words you guys think we spell wrong, you invented.
Yeah,
And then we, obviously being British colonies, or, still being connected to Britain, adopted it, and then you tell us we're spelling it wrong now. Fuck you.
we could do this all day. We really could, but I'm just
But, like, it's not only that, how we say a word. Like, root and route. You call it a router. It's a router. Route it.
No, you route traffic with it.
Oh, hang on. Bear with me 1 second. My phone's doing the stupid thing again. Hang on, I'm jumping out and jumping back in.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Hello. There we go.
Hello.
I jumped back in and there was silence, and I wasn't sure if it was because my phone wasn't working or whether everyone was just being really quiet.
We're just waiting for you to come back. But
She's coming
Yeah.
back. Pretend you're not.
usually you just need to give a confirmation that you're back. Ah,
Sorry, no, my phone keeps playing up and doing this with Discord at the moment. Or all of a sudden it decides that it's going to mute whilst it's next to my ear, and as soon as I pull my phone away, the sound comes back on. So I'm like, oh, it is working, and I put it back to my ear, and then the phone sound cuts out. There we go. Do it again.
Oh
Oh no,
boy.
that was someone else leaving. That's all right. It's not me. It's not me this time. So carry on.
This is the second time this has happened. I randomly dropped out. I don't know why.
I think it's against us. I think there's a ghost in the network.
Swear.
But going back to my point, I actually have. But here's the funny part: is I don't actually care all that much because I think both sayings and everything is correct. You can say route or route. Here we have like Route 66, called Route 66, Route 6. Or but even the word route or route were military terms. Route the enemy. That you get my point, right?
Right.
It just amalgamates, doesn't it?
But it's just so funny how like again, I've actually said this to the people who to like I think the funniest thing would be metric people, right? Like the metric system, you guys have grown up with it. But the whole thing with it is you're mad at us because it's an incon. And I have never heard somebody who comes from America go over and say, "You need to turn the metric system into, into our system." No, we're dumb. Please explain this to us.
No, I think what you'll find is that the Brits, by and large, are quite complacent, but really, really like to complain about shit.
I've heard
They
this.
don't want to do anything about it. They don't want to do anything about it. They just like to be heard. It's like a child having a tantrum. Like, just acknowledge them so that they know that, yes, I hear you. I see that you're upset, but like, is it going to do anything? Is this actually going to change anything? No, right? Then sit back down. And that's pretty much, that's how we stand on the world stage at the moment.
Right, I've heard this a lot.
As you can tell, I'm just deep, like overflowing with patriotism right now.
Right. I think that is the whole funniest thing, though. Is your patriotism, in my opinion, after meeting a lot of British people, is that you have this weird pride that makes you bitch about your own. Like you have to bitch. You don't have any other way.
It is inherent. It is inherent in British people that we just fucking win. We love to fucking complain about anything, about the weather. Doesn't matter whether it's hot or cold. We'll fucking complain about it. Short, long, doesn't matter. We'll fucking complain about it. Like the prices on like the sugar at the shop. We'll complain about it. It doesn't matter what it's doing. We'll have a fucking whinge about it. It's just what we do. Sorry.
No, but the thing is, this happens with pretty much everybody. The only people allowed to bitch about their country are the countrymen.
So
no one throws shade. No one throws shade at the country except the countrymen.
I mean, yeah, you're not wrong, are you? I can sit here and be like, fuck Britain. If one of you guys turn around and go, Britain is such a pile of shit, I'd be like, whoa, stand the fuck down. You don't know what you're talking about. That's my country to bitch about, not yours. You've got your own shit going on. Whinge about your shit.
Hold on. Here's the thing. I am perfectly fine with people bitching about America. I'm just gonna have my counters. And again, if you're gonna throw shade at us, motherfucker, you don't get to back out now.
Again,
you
no, but
you came in here into my house, and you don't expect me to respond.
The thing is at the end of the day, I've never turned down any. I only get defensive in sort of like show. in actual fact, I pretty much just agree with you every step of the way. I would say, yeah, but fuck off, sort of thing. I'm 100% aware, right? And I am the first one to say all these things. And as much, for all of the faults that I could sit and point out about America, it's still where I'd quite like to end up. No, it's for all its faults, it's still the best option. out of
Right.
every other country on the planet. So, understand that there is only marginal shade thrown, because the shade that is thrown is just sort of like, look, you've got something so good. Why are you ruining this? Why are you breaking it? Stop breaking it. But
Right.
I think that's much the sentiment of most patriotic Americans right now.
Yeah. And again, I've always wanted to travel and stuff. I throw shade because that's just what we do. But especially with Britain, that is, a lot of our ideals and stuff like that. I've always loved British comedies, and a
Mm.
lot of the people I met from Britain have been lovely people. Some, all of you have been assholes, but very
Facts, though. Facts.
um.
Yeah. I mean, no, I'm not even going to try and defend any of my fellow Brits because we are. It's fact.
Um,
Um,
but I kind of feel like you have to. You're in like one of the most dreariest countries ever. Rain, always rain. Why is there always rain? It's the middle of winter. Why are you raining? So I think I would bitch as much as you guys do if I had to live with that.
yeah, for the
Yeah.
few days a year that you get there, it's really fucking beautiful. It's really beautiful. Like, and I am lucky that I live in one of the particularly nice points of the country. Like, I am in a particularly nice corner of the UK. As the postcode lottery goes, I won. It is. I'm very lucky in that this is the corner of the world that I got spat out into. Yay me! But for the few days that you get, but yeah, for the majority of the time, it's not even that it rains. It's just that it's always grey and damp and bleak, and it's like when you see frogs sat on a rock, and it's like even when they're happy, they look like they're just like so melancholy. That's the British population.
Right. I do want to say one other thing is you and Australian are like the best with banter. Like a lot of Americans fail at banter.
Oh, absolutely.
And if you
Yeah.
haven't noticed, I love banter. I love the shit talking. I love the fun of just being able to talk.
Have a good roast.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think and it's one of the things that Alex has always said, and one of the things I think is inherent in Brits across the board is that we laugh at the things that we don't understand to make sense of them. Like, and if as a culture you can understand that, like the sensitivity has always been like up until recently, with all the things that are going on in the social climate. Like, Brits are pretty thick skinned because the worst thing that you're going to hear is off your best mate. Like, your best mate is going to beat you up and bully you and take the piss out of you more so than anyone that you dislike.
Yeah.
Would ever possibly pick a fight with you. They'll say the worst possible things. So we're naturally thick skinned. We naturally just laugh at everything. It's one of the reasons why, a lot of and we have our own race wars and things like that, but it just didn't take off. Like the whole
Yeah.
BLM thing, it just didn't take off in the UK. The simple fact that we're just a little bit more thick skinned over here. We don't get upset by words so much because we're all horrible, horrible bastards to one another.
Well, that's sort of true.
Hold on, we're not going to talk
Are
about
you
London.
including?
We're not talking about London. We're not
I
talking
was
about
gonna
London.
aim. I was gonna aim slightly north, but sure.
That area, just all of that in
Look,
the center of the country, is a whole different ballpark of problems.
No,
yeah,
I was aiming a lot higher than that.
Where were you aiming?
what up
Ireland?
north?
Scotland.
Scotland? Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, but hold on. That
They're
is
a different breed of person.
Yep.
in every way. And
No, and they would consider themselves that as well. That's not being like racist or anything, because technically I do. I'm like, they are a different race of human beings. Like, Scottish people are fucking terrifying. Like they're genuinely kids who are like, no, I woke up and used to eat glass of cereal. Like, you're like, oh my god, and they're like, no, that's just normal. I live in Glasgow. Like, fucking
Oh.
what? Yeah, no, yeah.
Uh,
There
I,
are some really, really good. I know if I can remember what it's called. There was a really, really, really good independent movie. It's like a bit of a gang movie that is about this guy in Scotland, and he's young. He's about 70. It is brilliant, and I cannot for the life of me remember what the name is, but
I
it
think
is
I know the movie you're talking about.
brutal,
I think I know what you're talking
brutal
about.
movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I know the movie you're talking about. And again, I still have a hard time seeing Scotland and Ireland part of the UK, even though that's what it means. Because I see Britain, Scotland is their own independent
Well,
stuff.
Ireland is a wholly debated topic anyway because there's
Yeah.
only a fifth of Ireland. Oh, hang on. Oh, Team
Hello,
Man's joining
Tana.
the.
Oh, got the
Oh,
whole
hang on.
crowd now.
Can we can we can we drop the video chat again, please? Sorry, it's just puts it on loudspeaker for me, and I can't turn it off.
One second, I don't think he's fully in yet. I don't. Here we go. I can. You could disable. Here,
See
I
if
don't know
I
how to do it
can.
from phone. Let me see. I don't know how to do it from phone.
No, my video's not turned on, but wait.
Here we go.
But there.
Hey, Taranak.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm just gonna jump out and jump.
I'm sitting there yakking away and
There we
nobody's
go.
responding, and I'm like, uh-oh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you came in with the video on, and I guess it messed with your stuff too, and it completely screwed Morgan's stuff up.
Yeah, it's alright. We've sorted it all out now.
Discord is not very mobile friendly.
No.
But not only
Yeah.
that, Discord's been messing up a lot recently. I don't know if it's just the winter season coming in here or what has been going on.
It's Discord. Of
It's
course.
it's the CIA getting involved into all the actual like database and the programming and the
Right.
the render farms and all that sort of stuff to make sure that actually happens. Yeah, they're getting involved into that so they can read everyone's messages. Joking, I don't give a shit.
Oh.
Anyway, yeah, no, as we were discussing a minute ago, yeah, only a fifth of Ireland is part of the UK. The rest of it is its own country. You don't forget
right.
that.
Got it.
And they are very passionate about the fact that they are not part of the UK or Great Britain or whatever they refer to it as. But yeah, they're very passionate about it. So Ireland technically isn't.
Right.
Technically.
Right. So yeah, like I said, the like I said, the British, like, I've always been a fan of, and I think that the biggest part it comes is like the, and I had to look for a lot of this stuff, but like British comedy, like that dry humor. I think what is his name from Monty Python? Did the he did the thing about the different political parties.
It could be John Cleese. It could
John
be Michael
Cleese.
Palin.
John
Yeah,
Cleese.
John
John
Cleese.
Cleese did this fantastic thing, and I still love the whole thing with it is that nobody likes a moderate. Like, that's what you need to take from it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
the extremist sketch.
Yeah.
Skit.
Yeah. Either one will do.
Like, and we're at a point now where I am considered a moderate. Just, it's amazing.
Well,
Just a
I'm on
loony.
that.
I
I'm on
don't know,
that
I
whole thing.
think a
where
lot of my friends probably think I'm an extremist.
depending on what you ask of me, I'm either an extremist in one way or another, or I'm
Right?
entirely moderate.
Well, see, isn't that the whole thing about being moderate? I'm sorry. Wow. Isn't that the whole thing about being a moderate? Though, it's not that you, like, it's that Yeah, no, I see where your asshole's on this side and your asshole's on this side.
And I don't want a part of none of your business.
Okay.
Now,
uh,
a man with 3 noses.
Yeah,
Uh,
being a moderate is very much just a case. Can all the children in the room just be quiet so we can get something done?
well. See. The whole comedy of it all is that that the idea is that a moderate, they just want this general things. They don't have like they can still have strong opinions, but they don't like go out and get into fights or all this other stuff. And I'm like, well, for me, I am a extremist moderate, obviously, because I go to war with everyone. I'm a
About
very
your very
vocal.
moderate ideals.
Yes, I'm a very vocal moderate. Very vocal.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Uh, or I'm just a normal person. Opinion, just possibly. But yeah, fuck extremism in all its forms.
Indeed.
Uh, um, but yeah, I don't know. Like I said, the political politics and stuff like that, and like I said, overall in Europe, I just don't. Like I said, I would love to visit. I don't think I could live in any countries over there at all. Partially
Yeah,
because I am an American.
Yeah.
I've been there. I could.
That's fair.
Yeah, we're all right. We don't bite. It's just that you would have to come over here and deal with the fact that you don't have guns.
Well,
Don't need
Yeah,
guns.
that's basically the biggest problem.
Yeah, you
Because
don't.
consider the
Well,
following. Consider
I
the
can get-
following. Unlike the US, you can actually have fiber internet over here without limits.
Well, it's
No
also
data
quite a
caps,
bit.
bitch.
I mean, there is kind of a limit because the size of Europe is like half the size of the US. So it's not quite as difficult to get stuff everywhere.
But you've
that's
got you've got shitty internet even close to big cities.
that
this
depends.
is your
That
one beef, Abby. It's like, I'd go there, but they've got shit internet.
Like you've literally got no excuse for not having fiber internet at least some 20 miles away from major cities. But you've got
actually,
shitty internet even
hold on,
close to big cities.
hold on. But I want to point out something to you so that you can understand this. Most major cities have more than one internet provider, and it's hard to get in. A lot of these places, what it is that the companies don't want to invest the money. Like a lot of cities here do have fiber internet now with no data cap. I don't know where you got that from. But, like, if you go to Seattle and stuff like that, what you run into is that there's 4 different companies in this fucking place, and where you live is where how you get your internet.
Yeah,
And we have a bunch of we have giant rural areas.
yeah, but
So
I'm
it's
not
easier
talking
to
about the
send
rural
kids in.
area. I'm not discussing the rural areas.
You're a tiny place. You have also your government runs your internet.
You're
Not true.
small. I'm big.
That last
Pretty
part is literally not true.
okay, fine.
But
have
let's go one step further over here. Your problem is that your government is giving all these companies a fuckload of money and they do fuck all with it.
Yeah, pretty
Except
much.
dump it on themselves.
Well, we also have a lot of what they call natural monopolies. The internet service is one of them.
Yeah, but that doesn't excuse the billions of dollars that your government dumped on companies like Comcast and such for them to improve the infrastructure,
Yeah.
and they didn't do it.
Yeah.
I mean, they continued getting money.
How is that? How? Okay, I mean, obviously, but how is that my my fault?
It's not your fault, but it's
Yeah,
your
Raz.
fault,
Fucking
plural.
hell.
Our fault, plural. Okay. Yeah, these Comcast, and I'm going to point out, not every company's like that. You should dig more into what's going on here. Not every city
Oh,
is
I know
like
there
that.
are. I know
And,
there are cities with very
but
cut up
even
spaces for each company.
but we have good fiber. We have good internet out here. The problem that we have out in my area is we are further out, and the company sucks because they needed, like, we finally got our internet working. Took a while, but you know,
Yeah, basically what happened to you is what used to be the problem over here.
yeah,
And yeah,
laziness
it
and
took a major forest fire for people to replace the old copper cables.
so you don't get to bitch at me. Fuck off.
Oh no, I do get to bitch at you because you should be a lot better than us.
Yeah, they still haven't even. They still haven't found Madeline McCann. So, like, you know,
Oh, but
Pretty
like,
sure
you
she
know,
exists somewhere.
she she doesn't. Don't worry. No, we're
Oh
not.
no,
It's
she
not on
does
you.
exist
It's not on
somewhere.
you. It was her parents. Don't worry. But in the
um,
same way, you can't blame Raz for his for parts
I
of his country
am.
not having the best fiber.
I'm not blaming Raz.
well, also, you're again smaller place versus giant fuck off country.
Can we still address the fact that if the internet connection is the one thing that's holding you back from America, you're like,
Oh, it's
Elon
not.
Musk lives there. Like, they're gonna get it sorted eventually. Like, it's not a real issue.
It's not what's the only thing that's keeping me from going to the US. Uh, right
Is the
now, it's basically the pandemic
yeah
to
yeah
start with.
yeah, and the fucking frustration that Portuguese people before him are fucking shitty people.
Oh, man.
Oh
Oh,
I'll
no no
just
no
Happy's
point it
here,
out.
you
I'll
know.
just point it out that in order for me to get
work
in order
visa.
for
It
me
has to
to
yeah
the work visa, I mean the immigration visa.
yeah that
In
one
order for
yep
me to do the immigration, not the work visa, in order for me to do the immigration, I need to put in the request, and then I need to go to France to have the interview.
No, you
right
just need to get a really good tan and head over to like the Mexican border
right.
and get like 450 grand when you cross over. It'd be great. Uh,
Probably be faster.
why go the long way around it? Why go the long way around it? Well, it's that
Okay.
simple right now. Sorry, I'm in a really pedantic like shit
No,
talky mood. I'm sorry.
yeah, our
Sorry.
our podcast is just we have devolved today. Today is obviously a shit talking stream because we haven't hung out in a while. We'll be back at our normal. We'll be back on our normal scheduled.
Insightful, full of wisdom, genuinely talking about things that matter. But for now, for
For
now,
now,
fuck
don't
you and your
take
fiber
any.
broadband.
Yeah, for
Yep.
now, for now, don't take anything we say seriously at all. Um.
I love the fact that we talked about Turkey Day for all of 3 seconds and have now
Oh
got
yeah.
into this sort of
Yeah.
like back and forth.
Oh. No. 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 Like I said. Get no. One of the biggest problems with getting people from, like, say, Portugal. So there's a few key countries in Europe that are very hard to get into the US because what people would do is they would come over here and they would never do anything, and then their visa would go out, right? And then they would stay.
Right?
Well, believe it or not, the immigration policies don't like that. And because there's a tendency in countries to not follow the rules and getting getting kicked out, deported back to their countries, um
Right.
Portugal's one of them. And then Poland. have a very bad tendency. People from your country have a very bad tendency, and now we're at like, yeah, if you want to come over here, it's a pain in the fucking ass, and they will probably deny you more often. So, not just immigrating over here. This is why I'm also trying to build a business so I can kidnap my friends.
Yeah.
Legally kidnap my friends.
Modern
Right.
day pirating. I love it.
'Cause that's
Yeah,
the
apparently
easiest way.
you would download a friend.
Yes, I would. Yes, I would. But, they have that whole thing of, like, would you download a car? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I would.
Absolutely.
Car.
I've never been asked that question. I didn't know that was a possibility. Like, yeah, sign me up.
When pirating became a thing back in, like, the early 2000s with that, like,
Yeah.
because of things like, I can't even remember what all the name of it was.
Oh my god! What the adverts? Would you still?
Would you
the
download a
adverts
car?
where you?
Yeah. Would you
Right,
download a
yeah.
car? Would you download a car? That's what it was. Yeah.
Well, see, with
Hold on.
ours, it was like, would you steal a purse? Would you steal this? Would you steal that? Well, stealing movies is still a crime. And I was like, if I could get away with stealing stuff in the same way that I steal like movies, and it wasn't hurting anybody, and I felt completely guilt free about it, yet I probably would. But the thing is that all other theft comes along with like this real moral, because you actually feel like you're taking something else off of someone who probably has maybe a bit more than you, maybe a bit less. Who knows? When you're talking about multi-million-pound film companies, I'm like, yeah, I'm sure like Johnny Depp's going to be crying tonight because I downloaded this movie. He's just going to go without another like gem. The diamond for his earrings, like, oh, boohoo.
That's why Gabe had a point when he said Gabe Newell had a point when he said that piracy is a distribution problem.
It is. It's absolutely.
It's a distribution problem. It's a pricing problem. That's it.
Yeah, I do.
People who would steal shit will still steal shit.
Yeah.
The difference thing is that it's like, why are you paying the same for a CD if you buy it on the store or if you buy it online?
Physical copy cost. This is the biggest problem that I've ran into. I find it disingenuous, especially with game companies being like, "Hey, we want to charge these ridiculous prices for games on a digital, right?"
Yep.
When there's nothing physical, they don't take that cost out.
Even worse, it's like if they're selling on Steam, then they can't even complain much about the distribution of it because it's all on Steam servers.
And I want to point out, yeah, and I also want to point out that it's even more complicated. It's even less complicated than that. Is buy something from only seller, and their pricing is actually better than brick and mortar for what the companies get back in cost. They actually sell.
There's no transport costs. There's no production costs for the physical stuff. There's no storage costs.
Green as fuck.
Yep. Yeah, green as fuck.
Super green.
Yeah.
No, even Greta approves.
And again, I know video games have become super expensive, but it's also because, well, you guys keep wasting money on things we don't want or need. Same thing with the movie industry, right?
Well, to be fair, I've argued before. Square doesn't need to pay a lot to market Final Fantasy. They make a new Final Fantasy game. Everyone knows they're making a new Final Fantasy game. Everyone knows what Final Fantasy is. There is no need to market a Call of Duty. There's no need to market the Battlefield. There's no need to market a lot of these AAA games.
Mhm.
But they
Yeah,
do.
it's a
They
little bit of
self-market.
marketing. It's basically it's available now.
Yeah, a series that is well known already marketed itself. People already know of it. They don't need to spend a lot of money.
The
Yeah.
thing is especially with the younger generation coming up now, the way that the younger generation are consuming media and coming away from the mainstream media, a lot of these people are consistently watching content that is what they're interested in. So if they're gamers, like, they are watching specifically content with gamers reviewing games, saying this game's coming out soon, I'm looking forward to reviewing it. Like, a lot of the content that's out there does a lot of the promotion without having to actually do an advert for it. Because if people are interested in it, and this is the things, I'm hoping that this brings us back to a actual supply demand. Instead of a dictation from all these, because I feel like that's what it's gotten to in the entertainment industry, is that you have these huge companies filled with all these people who are, unfortunately, at the moment, super woke. And they're going like, and this is what you're going to watch and you're going to like it. And, for a vast majority of people, it's one of the reasons why Marvel's tanking. Like, because people were like, I was really on board with this, but I just don't see where you're going with it. I feel like you're milking it. I feel like you're just trying to rinse money out of me now. Like, and you stop finding, and yes, you still get the people, the kids who just go in and they are the money machines that keep that. But the big audience is starting to fall away from it, and I'm hoping that it's going to go back to the point where the money will dictate where the sort of culture, the sort of things that we're seeing come back through entertainment, because it's very much a case of like, we've made this, you're going to love it, buy it, and you buy it. And
Yeah. Okay. I actually want to bitch about something because he brought up Final Fantasy, right? You have the Final Fantasy VII remake. Now, for you guys who don't know, Final Fantasy VII is one of the most beloved and best-selling RPGs that we're ignoring MMOs. It's storytelling, all this other stuff, right?
correct.
Yep.
So the thing with the game, though, is that as good as it is, one of those video games that needed a remake because the graphics, there's a lot of old games that still hold up now, right? This one visually doesn't. All the characters have Popeye arms.
Here's the
Like,
thing.
Yeah.
The thing is, if they did it well, they could have kept that in the overworld and stuff.
Yeah.
There was a way to match the old style with a new style. They could have made the battles with entirely brand new models and all that stuff.
Nobody complains about the end battle, remember? This isn't the problem. It was absolutely the overworld. It was just the overworld. It was the stuff you did when you weren't in cutscenes. Or, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but
you know,
that was the problem with a lot of the sort of stuff.
Yeah, and again, but this is one
Look,
of those games that has been asked for a remake for a couple of decades. Because part of it is Square doing the tech demo for the PS2.
yeah,
And then
but
when they finally decided to do it, but here's the thing, when they decided to do it, they gave it to the biggest. I have not many nice things to say about the guy who made the new Final Fantasy VII. Decided that I'm going to see, the problem I have now is now this is going to be what people know versus the original. I hate to say it, graphics do things to a lot of people.
See, now
It's-
I am just a real boring person where I'm like, if
Yeah.
you're going to remake a game, if you're going to literally remake a game, remake the game. Like, remake the game that we know and love, but do it in
Yeah.
a way where it's now got the exact same designs, but in all the graphics and all of the generators that you've got to make it look as lifelike and as real as possible. Take all the glitches out, add some extra bits into it to make it cool, but effectively let me relive my childhood on a platform that I'm more used to now and I can enjoy more. Like, you know, I would like to see 1 or 2 games come out like that so that I can really go back and enjoy the games that I loved so
Well,
much when I was a kid. That if I was to go back and play on a generator now,
yeah,
would just feel so clunky that you couldn't really get the same pleasure out of it as you could when it was the peak of technology.
Well, it's like
so
supposedly there are
uh,
rumors that there's a Chrono Cross remaster coming,
okay,
and
but
that's actually one thing that I do agree should be made with a lot of PS1 games,
yeah,
which is the PS1 had. I mean, technically, the PS1 only has one problem. The games have enough jaggies to absolutely
the
demolish
poly
a
count,
wall.
the polygon count is horrifying.
Yes,
um, but
that
here's
whole joke about the Squall, the Final Fantasy VIII protagonist, the most handsome man in the room.
is an
That that
he's so
quote is
edgy.
amazing
Yeah,
because that guy in that scene has a chin that could cut a man in half.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's
Well,
like holy shit.
the but the whole thing with these remakes though was it's like a good movie. Like here's the thing where video games did not transfer well. Like when you get into like sadly a lot of the cell shaded and a lot of the old 2D games still hold up now, right? Those
Yes.
old sprite work and everything. Games that came out on the PS1, this was new technology. This was
Yep.
polygon 3D. A lot of them don't hold up like graphically. But
Yep.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy VII's story was there's a
And
reason it
that's
was
what I
so
mean.
big.
The concept of it, the original
Yeah,
concept of it was so good, and the story was so enjoyable, and you loved playing it.
n
But
and I wouldn't
if
but
you
I
to
want
go back and do it, you couldn't do it. You couldn't go
yeah,
back and play those games.
but my biggest thing is I want to share my love. Like, there's nothing more awesome than going back and like, right now, we're watching Lord of the Rings. Ashley's never That's a
No.
20-year-old movie, and,
Yeah.
like, it's great being able to pull movies from the '80s, '70s, the '60s, and this is where film holds up, you know? You can still go back and watch those. Video games are not the same in this regard.
No. No. In the same
Um
way you're talking about that guy's chin, all I can think about is Lara Croft's boobs in the first Tomb Raider.
Right, exactly.
Madonna would be so jealous.
Uh, and again, but the thing is they have categorically changed all the characters. They are doing
Yeah.
it's a sequel nobody wanted.
Yeah.
And the problem that ultimately comes down to is that people are not experiencing the story that obviously me and Happy love.
Yeah. It's the bastardization of it. It's like the
Yeah.
characters are there and the concept is there, but they've done their own new storyline, and it just doesn't match up to the original. I'd just rather have the original with all of the new bells and whistles on it to make it look as great as possible
Yeah.
without it
And
without you tainting the perfect gameplay that it was.
yeah, and that's really just all it comes down to. Like like for me, and it just like I said, it just needed a update. That's all it really did. To tell to tell its story. It
Mm.
and now you have this guy who is writing a fan fiction. This is how I feel about a lot of
Yeah.
new people. They're writing fan fictions and they don't and if you want me to tell you exactly how clearly this was a bad idea, the game sold worse than the original 7 by like 8 million copies.
And the population's like tripled since then.
Yeah, it's 12, this game sold physically. You got to remember this. That's 4 copies with digital. This game, the original 7 sold 12 million physical copies in its
Yeah.
lifetime. That isn't even including the digital downloads past decade when they started
Yeah,
doing those.
that like What companies nowadays need to come to terms with is that they have the stories, they have the game systems, and to some extent, they have the graphics. It just needs a touch up.
Yeah.
Mm.
No,
It
no,
just
no,
needs
no, no.
small fixing. Like if Capcom, if
No, no, no,
Capcom
no.
just took Breath of Fire 3 and just reworked the maps and the graphics for spells and such, it would be enough.
What are you gonna say, Terranek?
Yeah.
Mine is
Good.
simple, and it's going to be controversial, and I really don't give a flying hoot.
Okay.
They
Which
need
is
to
the
take
point.
every one of those woke wankers and shove them out an airlock. Everything about it, the stories, the way that they draw them, the way that everything is done. This is game. It is fantasy. It is imagination. They have none.
Oh,
They
yeah.
they made a rock, a pilot in Star Wars. A rock. And we'll name him Geo. Duh. They're idiots. They're morons. They are. I wouldn't even. They are such low turds. I can't even scrape them off my shoes. They
funny
need to
part
get
with it-
rid of them. Period. And as soon as somebody
yeah.
starts bitching about it, they need to sit there and say, "There's the door. Don't let it slap you in the ass."
So I no, I actually I agree with you on a certain level. But the problem that I have isn't that they created a rock named Geode as a pilot. The fact is, they're shitty writers who don't know how to make that funny and interesting. Because I
Oh yeah, I
definitely
could
know
think of a
people in my
dozen
past.
ways. I could think
Yeah,
of dozens of ways of doing it. But the
yeah,
thing is they made it. I mean, it's not even like a good rock. It's just this kind of like a semi-cylindrical. Bleh. It's like
right.
at least
It's a
make it
rock.
cool.
It's
You know,
not even like they picked out a good skimmer or anything.
oh, did you see what they did to She-Hulk?
Oh my
Oh no,
god.
right? No, we refused to even watch it because it started coming up on Netflix,
All right,
and I
She-Hulk.
watched Eric July talk about
She-Hulk
stuff,
was
and he ranted for about 3 weeks about it. So I was like, yeah, I don't think I could bring myself to watch it. I'm already angry.
She-Hulk
Uh,
used to be one of the most awesome superheroes within the entire Marvel collection. I mean, she was witty, she was good looking, she was intelligent, she was a lawyer for cripe's sake.
yeah.
And when she hulked out, she was as badass as the regular Hulk was.
Oh.
I mean,
But she was actually coherent.
completely awesome. But oh my God, they can't have something like that. Oh, it's feminine. We gotta butch it out. We gotta shave the sides of its head and make it even bigger than Hulk. It's gonna be better than Hulk. It's like, no, you idiots.
I mean, in some arguments, she already was kind of better than Hulk. He was one of the most popular. Fourth wall breaking. I didn't read the run until much later, but I've always liked She-Hulk the pictures. You know,
Oh my, I mean, it was awesome.
yeah,
Witchblade was another one. New York detective, she gets the thing. Okay, yes, it showed a lot of skin.
yeah.
Sorry, most of your buyers are young boys that are looking for that. If you want to sell comics, you cater to the young boys and their testosterone poisoning.
Oh,
Yeah,
nothing even makes that
that's
badass.
just
Yeah, but in the '90s, you made the women badass along with their male counterparts. Like again,
exactly. I mean, we've
I like the
had.
darkness. I like the darkness. The other, the counterpart to Witchblade, and loved watching them together. Reading them together.
Oh yeah. The
Um,
thing was, we had so many totally awesome, badass women. Take no shit. Beat your ass if you did give them shit. I mean,
and still be
they
women, and
and
still be
still
women.
be fully feminine and fully awesome.
Yep.
Now we've got these tubs of lard, and I'm not even talking about their size. I'm just talking about their overall personality and everything is a tub of lard.
Yeah,
So
my favorite thing now is the smooth brain, wrinkled brain thing. I thought it was dumb
I'll
when
be
I first
back.
read it. Oh, yep. Their brains are very smooth, very smooth. You know? Um,
Yeah, I think the biggest problem with writers nowadays is that first and foremost, they don't know how to write good stories.
I think
oh
they're
no.
lazy.
And second, the only way they get anything through the door is by writing glorified fanfics.
Yeah.
I think it's just laziness. Like, it was the same thing when we were discussing the James Bond thing not long ago. Like, if you are so desperate to have like these new sort of icons of different parts of society and culture, make them. No, you want iconic, like, heroes and heroines that represent the ideals and the culture of the world that you live in right now. Invent one, make one. Don't try and subvert characters that already exist, stories that already exist, and manipulate them to your narrative. Like, write a new fucking story.
Well,
Like,
but
but the problem is they just don't have the skills to do that, or it's laziness that they just can't be bothered, or that it's just
I'll make it
people aren't
worse.
buying it. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but that is the fucking problem with all
I'll make it
entertainment
worse. I'll
nowadays.
make it worse. I'll make it worse. They're doing it because it's not just that they're uncreative and all that. What's that?
I think he's having a conversation with someone else.
Oh, but my biggest problem that I run into is that they're doing it on purpose because it allows them they use the things that we love to push their narratives. It's very
Yeah,
political. It's politically driven.
yeah,
And when things are only this and your job is not to entertain or your job is not to be actually again, they just want to push this narrative by using the things from the past. They want that name recognition. And again, they learned this from Hollywood, from the people around them who have
yeah,
lost all idea of what to do. This is not
yeah,
new. The difference is that and they don't have fresh faces, or they're not letting in fresh faces with these ideas. That's why people have moved to independent, heavily moved into independent creations.
mm.
Um
Well, predominantly because there's a market for it now. Because, again, once you come back to the distribution thing that we were talking about in
yeah.
games, now that distribution is in a position where it's sort of like, you know what, you don't have to go down through the traditional methods. You don't have to approach a big filmmaker with your idea. If you've got a camera, like, you can go out and make it. No,
Yeah.
with no budget. And if you've got a good idea, that will come. Like,
Yeah.
you once you get it out there, you have direct access to the audience now, which is obviously why now the media landscape is changing so drastically, because it is. But the gaming will be the last one, because gaming is the most recent technology. It's got to go through its whole evolution process before I think it starts really coming back into the hands of the users again. The creation process.
I really wish the full I really wish people back and we could have the market of like the 70s, 80s, 60s market. I'm not talking about like horror films of like what is that company called? Bloomhouse or whatever. The
Right? Yeah.
ones who make the shitty knockoffs, but I would love to see the return of really dumb creative things that inspire and make the new. Like, I would like that stuff to come back where the independent and the things and the craziness would come back, because we still get some good indie stuff but a lot of them are throwback films, and I want to see.
Mm.
Yeah.
And
How about I
so,
was, I
What's
was
Kara.
that?
going to say, how about Troy or
Yeah, yeah,
Trolla?
Trauma.
You know,
It's Trauma.
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 That's it. The
I
Toxic Avenger. 4
that's
movies, and they're all funny.
Yeah, yeah, but not only that, Trauma is a disgust. The guy is still alive, and he's still as crazy and as like New Moon. So New Moon is another company, who still makes this stuff. They made a legitimately horrifying and funny Puppet Master that was actually high budget.
Oh my gosh.
It's called The Littlest Reich.
Oh Oh my God, I can only imagine.
And it goes places that you're just like, wow, they did that. And again, I want to go back to the time when nothing was sacred. There are no sacred cows. That
Yeah, I agree.
everything is on the table. I want to make fun of Christian, atheist, Muslims, woke people, left, right. I want it all to come back.
Well, it used to be, like the classic, sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's been around for centuries. And it was basically, if you can't laugh at yourself, you have no right to laugh at anybody else.
Right.
absolutely.
Well, that's the key of self-deprecation, right? This is what I try to explain, like why I'm self-deprecating stuff like that. Sometimes the past, it used to be a lot more like brutally honest against myself to hurt myself, but now it is a form of comedy that just keeps me grounded, and it actually makes me more sad when people aren't laughing with me at myself. I'm offended.
Yeah.
I'm offended that you found that offensive. I thought that was fucking hilarious because I'm an asshole. That kind of thing, right? Like, and again, I learned this from the best. My like comedy, in comedy was like John Candy and Belushi, all those guys of the 80s, 70s, and 80s, right? When unarguably the comedy was the best at its best.
Yeah. Yep.
Um,
Well, look at all the Mel Brooks movies that got made through the 60s.
Oh my
Well, yeah,
God,
70s
I
and
love
80s.
Mel Brooks. Fucking, I love Mel Brooks so much. Oh,
yeah,
And
exactly. And again, when you have nothing is sacred and everything's on the board, creates for the equality that they talk about, right?
oh yeah, everything is divisive. They try to say everything is racist. Well, first off, that's a lie
It is a
because
lie.
there is only one race, human. Period. Full stop, human.
but this is coming back to what I was saying earlier. Like, if we can't laugh at our differences, like, then we can't understand each other. Like, if we can't sit here and appreciate the fact that you and I are different and that there are reasons for that, then how do we really understand each other as a humanity? That's one of the reasons that things I don't get about racism. It's like, if I make jokes about the fact that somebody is culturally different from me, because I'm genuinely interested about their culture. It's not because that I want to offend them over it. I want to have a laugh with people because laughter is the cure. Laughter is the fluid by which you can sort of like make ease of most conversations. Like it's what I just that to me is like when I was saying that's an inherently British thing. It's because we're all in it together. Like it's that thing. Whereas if we can laugh together, then we can sort anything out. And I just feel like that is one of the fundamental things about comedy and being allowed to be comedy and nothing being off the table because everyone's included. Everyone's included in being slagged off.
Well, we
Everyone's
can't be
included in being
uncomfortable,
brought
right?
down into the mud.
Well, we
And it makes
yeah.
it okay for us to look at our faults and our differences and all the things that, we need to address because we can laugh about it together.
Yep.
It's a
Oh,
unifying thing.
yeah, it's like I was bringing up earlier about like the one thing I liked about British people, like mostly lovely people, all of them assholes, but they knew how to
Yeah.
banter. I miss art of bantering. This goes back into our thing about conversations a couple of months ago, right? Which I think
Yeah.
is the biggest thing that I focus on. Banter is amazing.
Well, yeah.
It
I mean,
it oh, go ahead.
well, I mean, that's one of the baseline things. I mean, all of the great plays, the Shakespearean plays and Homer and all these other things. Most of the really great ones had some variation of banter in there. Improv is a variation of banter,
Yeah.
and all these different things. It's the comedy is when basically you're expecting a certain line of thought, and suddenly it veers off course, and that sudden shock, especially when it's pretty ridiculous, is what makes things funny.
Yeah.
And everybody is into that. And the twatterazzi, nothing is funny. Everything is my
Yeah, but the thing is that I disagree. I think the thing that makes things inherently funny is truth. Like,
oh
unless it's
definitely.
true, unless it's inherently true, and everyone in that room can agree and see that that is a point of truth and that is an actual facet of human nature, society, culture, whatever it might be. It has to be true. And that's why it pisses them off so much. Because for some people, the truth fucking hurts. Because they can't take a fucking joke, the truth fucking hurts. So comedy is painful. Comedy is violence.
Life is violence.
Yep.
If these bows, I mean, they don't have any clue of how good they have it. I mean,
No.
if
I
they
think
were to be sit there, the whole, remember the Discovery Channel, the Naked and Afraid?
yeah.
Yep.
It shouldn't be voluntary. It should be, oh, you're this cute little Twitter idiot. We're going to sit there and pop. Okay, now you're out on the African savannah, naked and afraid. Live.
No,
And
it's that
we're
far. You
not
can
even going to have
let 'em go.
cameras. We're going to have drones that will keep an eye to make sure that you don't get killed, but
You can pretty
survive.
much just let them go like in the middle of the mountains or something like that. You have plenty of space over in the US.
Well, I mean, it doesn't matter where.
Yep.
Yeah.
If these people didn't have cell phones glued to them and didn't have these people that are constantly in their ear telling them, "Oh, you're wonderful. Oh, you're," and the thing is the people that are saying, "Oh, you're so wonderful," they're lying. They're thinking
Let,
you're an ugly ass jack shit, but I'm hoping that you'll like me back.
Right.
If I see a
I
guy like
stand
you,
by.
you do the same thing. Because
You
I've
can't
seen the
have.
ones that. Well,
Sorry, I was just going to say, you can't have had any life experience. You can't have suffered any real trauma in your life if the thing that makes you want to get up out of your seat and go and protest is Dave Chappelle making jokes on Netflix.
Yep.
Like, if that is what is propelling you out of your seat to go out and make your voice heard, what the fuck is going on in your life? Like, how bored are you? Like, how easy is your life? How much is provided for you if that's the cause that you're like, this is the hill I'm gonna die on?
Yep.
Like, these people have nothing.
well, the common thing that I hear so often, PTSD. You have no freaking clue.
No.
Yeah.
PTSD. And I've smacked somebody, well, I got PTSD. Why? Well, blah, 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 blah. They yelled at me. I says, did you sit there while your best friend bled out in your arms
Right.
and died? Did that
Guaranteed.
happen to you? Well,
Guaranteed
no.
Taranac, though. Guaranteed Taranac. The same sort of people that would be saying they've got PTSD over that are the same sort of people that, and I don't want to get too political, are making all the horrible comments saying what a good show Carl put on, crying on the stand. When they're actually confronted with someone actually suffering from PTSD, oh yeah, it's a big act. And then they'll the sort of people that will throw that term around to get sympathy, to victimize themselves. Like, but without going down that path too much, because that's something that's really angered me over the last couple of weeks.
I definitely next week. Okay, so we'll save this for next week. But I definitely want to talk about hip and self
Yeah.
denial. Those are the biggest things that I've come to like again. Um, like I think that play and again, yeah, these people haven't had real trauma in their lives. That's the reality of it. Like, and if they have, they somehow buried it in a way that, uh,
Yep.
No,
you
I
know,
don't think they have. I think it's perceived. I think that, the sort of people who go out on the street wanting to be perceived as a victim are not people who are actually victims, because you have never actually met somebody that has been through a trauma that would call themselves a victim. Never. Like, of all the people that I've met, I've never met somebody who has actually been through something that could break your whole world, and then would call themselves a victim afterwards. They might have survived it, they might have got through it, they might have had all these other different terms, but then the sort of people who refer to themselves as victims, there is a specific
Yeah.
mindset of people that want to be pitied. I've had a hard time. Pity me.
Yep.
Like, you know, and no, I don't
Give me-
understand the psychology behind it, nor do I know how we fix it.
They get free stuff.
Well, one of the things, like I
I'm
said,
a victim. Gimme.
Listen to
Yeah.
me. I have
Yeah.
no other worth other than the fact that I'm telling you that I'm a victim.
well, again, like I said, there are people who have gone through horrible, have, but it's the product of the environment they're in. You know, some people, self-denial can do things. Or I'm trying not to be completely unfair.
No, you
Like,
need to have a broad blanket brush like me and Taranak. Fuck them all.
but I can't do that. But definitely with the trauma, and again, I only realized, I only realized that I was a blanket full of trauma only over. I didn't want to think that, and I understand your side of it, Morgan. Like a lot of people go through this stuff, and again, it's how easy self for bad things that you can be gaslight yourself into thinking happening to you.
Yeah, but I find that is a completely different state of mind to somebody who
Absolutely.
wants to present themselves as somebody who has been victimized and who should be treated differently by society because they have been through some perceived trauma, which, like, what I'm saying is that anyone that has actually been through a trauma like that generally doesn't behave in that way because they don't want to be treated differently because of it.
Oh no.
Like, I've been through this. This is a part of my life. It's part of who I am. I can't change that. I don't want you to treat me any differently as a result of it.
Yep.
No, you know, and I think that's people across the board when you've been through experiences like that. And what you're seeing in contrast is people who are going out saying, like, listen to me. I am hurt. I am sad. I am all of these things. And it's like, but are you though? Like, you know, because I just don't know anybody that genuinely is any of those things that would lead any conversation with that.
Isn't the most interesting thing with people who have real trauma is they want you to understand when they finally talk about it, they want you to understand, but they don't want your fucking pity. They don't want you to think to be sad for them.
That's exactly what I mean.
Yeah.
Well,
You don't.
okay. Look at all the people that have to go into another slightly different direction. Look at all the people who have lost limbs.
Yeah.
Arms,
Exactly.
legs, etc.
Exactly.
And some of them haven't had them from the get-go.
Yeah.
Back when I was in Germany in the 80s, there was a whole bunch of people that I knew that were thalidomide babies. They had no arms or missing a leg. Just it was never there. And they were doing incredible things.
Yeah.
You know, the one girl, she was cute as a button, had no arms at all. But she would sit there and drink beer and, eat sandwiches and all this other stuff.
But she could drink you under a table as well.
It's because
I maybe because I mean she was great. She had personality, she had everything. And it's like, okay, so she doesn't have arms. Whoop-a-doo-dah.
But that's also
She
part of it,
was
right?
independent. Yeah, I mean, she was fully independent.
But it's because, and this is what I think comes down to it all, and I've talked to a lot of people about this, that adversity gives you that adversity, like the actual thing, what this is what creates that need to push past the limitations you have. And this is why I tell people, don't create problems. Like a lot of people want to create their own problems. But go take on a challenge that's hard. Do something not comfortable. Go and because a lot of these people are not prepared for real. They're not prepared for real at all.
Oh yeah.
No.
And when it comes up and bites them in the ass, then they're just like and they completely collapse. They just fall apart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like that's helpful. Oh yeah, falling apart. the first thing that goes wrong, you completely fall apart. Those people generally have a tendency to die.
Yep.
The people that don't fall apart are the ones that survive and go on.
But again, life is so much easier. Shelter, all those things are available, and
Yeah.
so they don't. And the only thing, and again, a lot of people haven't been taught at all. The hardest thing about what I think, what's important with what I do, is a lot of them, um, life is so easy that that they they haven't even been taught. They don't get the lessons like I did, and that how to do. And I didn't know it very well. I know all the lessons were given to me, but I had to go through it. You know,
Yeah,
I
and I mean, there's some people that the only way that they learn is basically getting their fingers burnt.
pretty much,
You tell them and you tell them, don't touch that, don't touch that, don't touch that, don't touch that. They touch it and they go, "Ah." Well, I told you not to touch that
yeah,
because it'll burn you. And after that, all of a sudden they start listening because it's like, I have suffered damage, real damage to my person.
yeah,
And I mean, I'm not trying to make out there is psychological damage too. Okay. I mean,
yeah,
there are plenty of things, Jim Jones, the whole reason behind the drinking the Kool-Aid was because people were brainwashed into
yeah,
believing things that were inherently and just, heinously untrue. Oh, when you do this, you're going to meet God and blah, 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 blah. And these people sat there and fed poison to their kids.
yeah.
Can you imagine that? Feeding poison to your kids thinking that's going to take them to a better life? What?
I The problem is, I know it happens, and
I
that's
can
the
see how it
fucked up part,
happens.
and that's
Oh,
the fucked up part.
and that's what I'm saying. I can see, so I can follow a chain as to why it can happen and how it can happen. But
Yeah,
the people,
Yep.
and again, this is going to be one of those things where people are going to dislike me for it. But it's like, okay, humans have been on the face of this planet for about 10,000 years, roughly.
yeah,
We've had records of our existence for about maybe 6,000 of those years, 5 to 6,000.
yeah,
All of that time, it has been a fight for life,
yeah,
period. Whether it's been the weather, our climate, or, the predators, food, everything. This planet has been out to kill us since the very beginning. That's just the way it is. It is nature. It is the way that it is. And you can whine and bitch and moan and you'll die. Or you can do something about it
yeah,
and live.
yeah.
And the thing is those people that lived, yes, there were scum all over the place. There are always going to be scummy people. There is absolutely nothing you can do about it. They will exist. You could
Yeah,
it,
um,
the thing is to find that method, talk to different people, cooperate with each other. Cooperation is what helped us get to where we are. Cooperate with other people, work with other people, learn from them,
yeah.
teach them, and you will survive and you will grow. Sit there
The
and play the victim, they're going to leave you on the side of the road to die.
See,
I Oh, go ahead. I actually
I
had
was
something I
literally
wanted to talk about.
just a little thing I was
Go
going to
ahead.
say. Like, if I was slightly more black pilled, because I'm in a good mood at the moment, if I was slightly more black pilled, I would bring an argument in at this point saying, we could argue about modern medicine removing survival of the fittest and being the main issue of why we now have a ridiculously overpopulated planet. But that would then send me down onto a weird fucking evil maniac, like bad guy, super villain type thread. So
Well,
I'm going to come back from that. But yeah,
Uh,
no, I agree. But on that same thought, like we have removed the survival of the fittest out of human nature, which is why we have so many weak fucking humans.
Well, and again, that's just the nature of what we've done. I actually wanted to talk about this a little bit. I have a friend. The thing is that I still love all the things, even with the problems. Again, these is the problems we have to relearn everything we do.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know,
we're a fucking species with amnesia. It's like we can't forget the mistakes that we made literally like a
yeah.
100 years ago. It's like we've got pictures of it.
Well, we actually forget.
How can you
Hey,
make the
We
same
have the
fucking
receipts.
mistakes?
we actually forget more. We actually forget more knowledge than
Yeah,
um. The
but we've
like
got receipts.
um. But to give you
Yeah.
a full thing with it, I have I have a friend who believes things, but this actually points to my whole thing about life being too. He was talking about these African tribes, and there's where, and he is very much the go back to nature. His whole thing is like, we had heaven because this man, they live in this small thing. They have a little bit of technology, and culture and everything like that, but their lives are hard. Famine, kill 'em. But this old man, he's lived the longest, is riding down a hill on a sled, and he's just that pure grin of joy. Because alive, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That he has
Yeah.
survived to this old age, gone through so much adversity, and he's in his old age now, and he's just the happiest man in this village, and that's actually why he's you know um and this is where hard times make strong men, because again, that adversity is, but I still would not trade all of the advancements, all the knowledge, all the things, and this is just me
Like,
because I'm a little bit selfish, for a life like this.
no,
Um. Yeah.
I'll straight up say that, and I've said this, I remember saying this when I was like 10 years old to my mum.
Yeah,
Like, I feel blessed that in every age of man that I could have existed in up until this point, like, I'm now.
yeah,
Like, I have TVs, sofas, central heating, kettle, like an oven, like a supermarket down the road. Like, my life is easier than any other human. You do any bit of like human research and think about, like, my chances of living 100 years ago. I'd have been dead fucking when I was 14, a
yeah.
hundred years ago. Like, because of my lifestyle and my means and things like that. I'd have died at 14 in a fucking factory somewhere. Like, this is the reality of me, who I would have been 100 years ago from now. I know that it's a blessing. It's just frustrating when you see how it's being squandered. Like,
Well,
you see how many people right now just don't appreciate the wonder of what's happening. And yeah, I don't know.
what
Like,
real quick,
maybe I'm just like too old now, and I'm just like, it was perfect. Just around 2000, it was pretty fucking spot on. Can we just go back to that? 99, banging. Let's just go back to 1999. Everything was fine then, which I know that Taranak will be like, oh, it wasn't. You were just too young.
No. 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 I'm not. I am not going to disagree with you.
yeah, I'm not
I
gonna
will
No.
sit
disagree
there.
either.
If I was going to put something in there, it would be like, party like it's 1999. Yes.
Yep.
If I could
Uh,
go back and stay at 1999, even with some of the couple more advancements that we've had. Okay, I mean, like the 3D printing didn't come in until a little bit later, but it's like,
yeah.
even so, just the stuff that I knew at that turn, at the 1999 2000 turn, was like, I could live in that realm.
See, I could argue with technology is that what have we actually gained in the last 20 years that is bettering us as a species? Like, I'm not
Can I answer
saying that
that?
they're not. Yeah, yeah,
Can
carry
I
on.
answer that? You haven't learned. The biggest thing that I disagree, that I don't want to go backwards, is because you haven't learned to do with what people haven't learned actual.
Well, And here's where I'm going to say a counterpoint.
Yeah, go ahead.
I can make a very good argument that in the last 20 years we have gone backwards.
In
We
certain
have gone
ways.
we have gone back to the 60s, even the 50s in a way.
Yeah.
What, in
In
terms of
many
social psychology?
in terms of the social psychology, in terms of the segregation and the division and
Hmm.
all these other things.
Yep.
We have regressed. In the past 20 years, we have regressed an incredible amount. There was more freedoms, more abilities, more everything as far as the
Right.
human culture being on the cutting edge
Right.
back at that point. We have regressed.
Mm.
Yeah. And what I meant by what I said, what I meant by that, because I have to explain, because I know I always have to explain these things a little more. My mind works,
Yeah, we'll give you
the way
some
it
room.
does.
Hang on. Taranak, we're
Um.
waiting for some wisdom.
So I actually agree with that one, but again, the whole thing is that yes, we have to now given power that we don't know how to wield.
Yeah.
That we now have the choice. That we that we have to find purpose. The fact that I can talk to you to right now, the way we are, was not possible. No matter what you say, I'd have to meet you, mostly physically, maybe a chat room. Have all this
And
power.
we'd have
We
to wait
have
for the dial-up modem before we could even talk to each other. It'd be a good 10 minutes
yeah,
sitting there going, "Brrrr, do, do, do,
right.
do, 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 do."
But the
No,
power.
that's going back to the 80s now. By
Fuck
nine
you,
Oh,
I'm
by
not that
nine,
old.
1999 we had broadband. 1999
yeah,
we had IRC and a lot of different chat rooms.
yeah.
You might
We
have.
could have met.
We could have,
IRC
but
was free.
but
IRC was free. All you needed
yeah,
was an internet connection of any kind, even
but
dial up.
but I meant the power that we have now with all the things. Now have all of this, and again, not surprising, how to use it. Nobody, like,
Yeah.
no people aren't taking their own lives in their hands. They're not, and again, I'll say this again. Why should they? They haven't been provided with. Again, I'm not surprised we got to this. I'm rejecting it, but I'm doing it my way. I won't look backwards. Part of the fun is that we're in a new have a new form of adversity problems that solved, and that we're going through hell because we're stuck in it.
Yep.
Everything always looks worse in it. I actually, funny enough, it's watching Lord of the Rings was talking about that. Frodo's like, "Hey, I wish the ring never came to me." You know,
Yeah.
and
Sometimes you
Gandalf's
just don't have a choice.
well, no, but Gandalf says, yeah, this is but what do you do with the life? It's up to you, like that is given to you. Time that's
Yep.
you have to solve. You have to solve the issues anyway. If this is a bother for you, this is why I don't think complaining about all these is the answer. That's why I try to find and keep testing these against everybody.
Boo. Sometimes it's nice to just bitch about everyone.
Nice sometimes. But when it becomes your norm,
Let me put it this way. When the leaves have crisped,
yeah,
there's no saving them. They're already burnt. They're already destructed. There is no saving the leaf. And
Giving it
that's
energy at this point in time would be flogging a dead horse. Okay, good analogy. I like that. I was wondering where you were going with that. That was some wise philosophy there, sir.
well, and I'm not discounting what Raz is saying here. It's I am all for trying to pull those people that are, dare I say, worthy, or at least not so far gone that they can be saved. They have to want to be saved in a way.
well, and again, I'll point this out to you that I've said before. And I can ultimately disagree. It's because I've gone out and been doing. Who is worthy? And you
Yes.
can't just figure it out just by going, "Oh, this." You have to talk to them.
Yep. And like I say,
Yeah,
the thing is we talk to them, and
but I don't
one of the
also try to
points
help
is when
30-year-olds. Go ahead, I'm listening.
one of the things that I found is sometimes just talking that way. Oh, these people, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Somebody that's worthy will sit there and they don't argue. Oh well, they'll sit there and they'll go, well, that's not me. I feel this way. And that's when you can start, making the comparisons. Like the whole thing, with Rittenhouse or whatever.
Yeah,
You know, oh well, he's a murderer because he killed 2 black people. Here are the people that died. What color are they?
right.
Well, what color are they? Well, they're white. Then why did you say they were black?
Yep. Hold on,
Well,
I wanna
well,
point out.
they were at a BLM protest. No, they were running around causing trouble.
Because the news
They
is
were
flat out telling them
criminals.
lies, like that there has to be a certain amount. Like, I understand, this is the frustrating part, is that I understand that there are people that are ignorant, but they're willfully ignorant, like, to information right now. Like, this is the problem, right? When we talk about the technology, you say that
Uh-huh.
we've de-evolved and that, we haven't grasped the freedom, like, that is
So
one of my favorite analogies is to say, like, go back to like the mid 1900s and show someone, like, go back in time and show one person a phone, a phone, and explain what it is. Now, I have a device in my hand that can contact anybody in the world, that can find any piece of information in the world in less than 10 seconds.
yeah,
Like, and what do you use it for? Well, I mostly look
I
at it.
tweet.
Use it. I use it to look at like memes and photos of cats. Like, that is what the average person. You have a device in your hand that is capable of holding more knowledge than an entire fucking like libraries
eh,
that people used to dream about getting into. Scholars would dream about getting into libraries that hold the amount of information that's held in your phone. But what we haven't been taught properly is how to use it. We haven't been trained to use it. We've been
yeah,
trained to use it as an extension of being this consumer, and what I give you is information so that you can make me consume more. You can tell me to consume more.
yeah,
That's what we've been trained to use these devices as, and that is, if anything, the proof that the technology has evolved far beyond humanity, and humanity, if anything, has de-evolved. Is the fact that, yeah, 100 years ago, you gave someone that technology, the things that they would do and accomplish with it, like,
right.
would blow your mind. But now, like, the average person just wants to sit there and stare at it whilst they scroll
Yeah,
painfully all
and
day,
Well,
every day.
and
And it's
what's the
willful
so
ignorance. All that information is there.
yeah,
Everything that they need to know to make an informed decision about the world is there. But they'd rather just have it regurgitated to them from somebody. Oh, because it's a familiar face.
it's
so what's the
dopamine
solution?
hits.
Yeah.
We're
So
it's
what is oh, sorry, I've listened to both of you, but my whole thing. What is the
Sorry,
solution
carry
to
on.
that? No, what is the solution? Because this is where I hear all your guys' complaints. But what's your solution? I hear the burnt leaf, all this other stuff, and I'm going hard right now. What is the
That's
solution to that?
okay.
You need to be what is the one thing that we were taught in the past? Inspirational. To be the person we want to be, the person that we want to pass on to others. And when
And
you
that's it.
suddenly just and again, what I've dealt with a lot is you just toss it all to the side and then you go, well, those who are worthy. Who the fuck is worthy? How and again, can you just figure that out by just arguing with or do you be the person and let them make a decision when they actually see it for themselves? The biggest thing that I have done is been a not only a breath of fresh air for people, but a surprise so that again, being inspirational is what we were
Yep.
always told to be. And
Yep.
so, yes, I will fight back against blackpilling or throwing those blankets or saying those things because that if that is true, I wasn't worth saving myself. And yes,
And
I will take it back to be personal. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No,
Of
I
course, you
was.
caught me.
No,
And
but
I agree with what you're saying, and that's one of the reasons why I support what you do. Because you do have a good answer in talking to people and working with people, and I have I say worthy,
Yeah,
not in are these people literally of worth or
right.
not. Every human being is worth something. But when I'm talking worthy,
Yeah,
it is my expenditure of time. Okay? If I'm going to spend 2 weeks, for instance, talking
right.
to this person and working with them and everything else, is that expenditure of time going to get somewhere, anywhere, even just a marginal bit? Or is it going to be a continuous, not worth anything? And in the meantime, maybe 2 others, I might have been able to make that adjustment. It's
That's fair. That's fair. I think I'm a little bit
especially
insane.
especially at my age. I
Yeah.
don't have a heck of a lot of time left.
Right. I'm insane. I do want to point out to everybody that I'm insane because this is how I put it. Not a question of if people my time. The question is, am I worthy?
And
That
I can get that too. I can
um
get that too.
a lot of people feel like, again, after meeting a lot of I have people think that they're worthy enough to be, for me that my knowledge and stuff too. It's better spent other places.
See, here's
I've had people say that. One thing, I just have one last thing, but the ultimate thing, no, people are worthy of, and I give it willingly and freely to anybody who wants.
well, and that's where I was wanting to kick in there.
Yeah, go ahead.
When I have made a decision to
Yeah,
help somebody,
yep,
okay? If I've given that decision, that is automatically making it that you are worthy of my time
yeah,
because I am spending the time with you. I can see a kernel or a grain of something that is like this, you are worthwhile. You know, when I'm talking to the person, you are worthwhile. And I've experienced those people.
yep,
Why do you even bother with me? I've got this or I've got that. And I've spent time with them and I've turned them around.
yeah,
They've and I'm not trying to put it like, some kind of a feather in the cap. They've come back to me, sometimes years later.
yeah.
Somebody will sit there and they'll be like, "Hey, blah 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 blah, Taranaka, and blah 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 blah," and I'm like, "Do I know you?" you know, I mean,
Right.
not quite that bad, but it's like, okay, this person looks really familiar, but I can't place it. And
Yeah,
it's things like they've changed themselves so much that they're almost not recognizable anymore.
yeah,
And they're happy and they're doing this and they're doing that. And it's like, I was down in this and you helped me do this and you told me a couple of things and it turned my life around. And all of a sudden I'm sitting there like a melting pile of goo going,
right.
so
Uh,
beautiful. It's freaky, but it's
so
something
yeah,
that I have to live for.
yeah. It's
It's
so
something that I
funny,
want to do.
Eric. You're actually like one of the that I have such a. That's what I want to. That's when I get to. Isn't what I'm doing now, but who they are, the things I do. What are the long term? You know,
Yeah.
when I see that, even if it's that's when I get to feel happy that person. Right now, I'm just doing what I'm good at.
Yeah, and right now it may seem like, things aren't happening and I'm not going to be like
Yeah.
those inspirational speakers and oh, it's going to be great. It's going to do this thing. No, it's going to be a
No.
long, hard freaking drive.
Oh
But
yeah.
when they pop in, when they come back and they say, you remember way back, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, we, we're such and such and so and so, you were just a coworker and you had a couple of things and I thought they were really cool. So I started doing those things and now I have this and I have this and I have this. And it's just realizing that sometimes being yourself,
Yep.
whether it's gregarious, whether it's crotchety old fart, whatever it may happen to be, sometimes those actions, being consistent, being responsible, being all the things that are currently called being too white have helped people in ways that you can't even imagine.
Yeah.
Those are the things that are like, I have that spark of hope for humanity. I have all that stuff. And I see it constantly, all the craziest stuff, the whole internet melting down over, somebody that had plain out self-defense against a couple of criminals,
Yep.
and they're melting down and doing this. And, it's funny when I see some of the responses, and I have to wonder how many of these responses are legit. These
Yeah.
people are that ignorant that that's what they think.
I definitely
And
believe in evil.
and
Yeah. But
how many of them are just saying that because, oh my God, don't stir up the mob, you know? Oh
I,
yes, I believe in blah 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 blah.
oh,
Look at
I
the
Yeah.
look
have it
look.
even worse. I have it even worse. I do know for a fact, and we talked about this. I don't think everybody. I do think these they can't have things go against. Again, why do you think the biggest reason why communism always fails, right?
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
why they try to control information, or why they try to do because because again, everything that they fight for has already been successful. You know, so they have to make these problems and try to push culture so they could gain that whatever people believe they have. Like one of
Well,
the arguments that I'm actually okay with is I do think in the day and age of I do think the way that we do capitalism, but not because of capitalism's bad, but every system evolve. Hopefully,
well,
for the better.
the thing is capitalism as a concept and as an
Yeah.
activity is not necessarily bad. It is actually quite
Oh
good.
no.
It's vigorous. It is created many civilizations
Yeah.
Yep.
It's how we
because
got here.
all of the different ones, all of this stuff that we have
Yep.
was based upon capitalism.
I
Yeah.
stand by
It,
foundation. Capitalism is the foundation of freedom. Like
Yeah.
the reason that the West is being the leader of culture is because capitalism has allowed for people to climb the ladder of means and start exploring things that they weren't able to explore before because they didn't have the money or the comfort to be able to enjoy the arts. Arts, philosophy are all things that come when you're not constantly trying to survive.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
you don't have the luxury of making music and making art, of being creative and inspirational, and all of these things that are abstract from like the basic survival instincts. They are only like a possibility because you have the comfort and the freedom to do that, and that has been given to the world through capitalism, and it's
Yep.
what, it was what had made America strong, that
Yeah.
because it shined above everyone else and said, look, there is so much freedom here to make money however you see fit,
Yeah.
to provide for your family however you see fit, however
Yep.
you have the means and the tools by which to do so in a
Yep.
legally abiding manner. Then fucking crack on. And you don't have to answer to anybody because it's your right to be able to do that. That's it is the foundation of everything.
Yeah.
So all of the ideas and the concepts that they're basing all of these the, these ideals off of are literally products of capitalism because they wouldn't
Yeah.
have even been able to have been thought into existence without it.
Yep.
Like, it's
Oh,
just,
but
Yep.
sorry.
again, I disagree heavily. You guys know I'm a like pure capitalist at heart, but my problem comes to the cronyism and other things, problems that are with the system.
I'm
Not
not
even real
saying it's
capitalism.
perfect. Never
Oh,
said it was perfect,
oh,
and I've
but
got my own beef with it. But
yeah, but again, and we can solve those issues.
exactly.
That's
Capitalism.
all I said. That's all I was meaning by what I was. That we can
But
solve.
under capitalism, you have the freedom to have those conversations to solve those problems.
Again, I don't want to get rid of capitalism. I just want
I,
a reformation of this. Or I want to keep
I
capitalism
completely
as
agree.
it is. I just want a reformation. And again, America's built on reform.
Yeah.
That's also
Well,
how we've gotten better.
oh yeah,
So
definitely.
your constitution is made up of amendments.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right
you know
or
what an
wrong,
amendment
right
is?
or
As
wrong.
much as I hate Jim Jeffries and all the shit that he spouts off of, like, that is one of the things that he says, like, that's the whole point of amendments, is they were added. Like, these are things that didn't happen in the first instance. Like, they've been added along, they've
Oh
been
yeah.
changed, they've been sort of like, and that is the beauty of it. It is a fluid document. It's just that, the core of it has to stay
Yep. Well,
for
and
it to exist.
a very strong thing of it, when we think about it, and we're going to go 19th and 21st Amendments. The 19th, prohibition. There will be no alcohol. A radical group of extremists, got in there. Men whose lips touched alcohol should not touch mine. And you look at them and you're like, I didn't want to touch them in the first place. But
Right.
I mean, the thing is they managed to get enough traction to get this thing pushed through.
Yeah.
And we ended up with, the worst people and people that just wanted plain out freedom to do what they desired. We ended up with crime waves. We ended up with all kinds of bad stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
But
they realized, okay, this was not a good idea. And then they repealed it.
But
Here's
that
another amendment,
again
and that
is
amendment canceled out this one because okay, that was a bad idea. Let's not do
you
this.
don't.
and that is the beauty of it.
And again, they
Like,
didn't change. They didn't get rid of the amendment. They added one because pass
Yes, exactly.
understand. This is
but
why I hate getting rid of laws instead of just making them no longer. Again, I think
this is
even bad laws we've had, should not just be removed off the books. They should stay on the books with the thing that states won't do this again. You know what I
So
mean?
I think even Joe Rogan said it, that it's like, the evolution of the human mind hasn't really changed that much since the founding fathers. And actually, the philosophies and the insights that they had when they were putting together that document far precedes the average intelligence that you've got walking. Like, and I know they weren't the average man, but still, like, can you think of somebody coming up with a document that profound now, that covers all bases, that does what that document does? Like, and
I want to
actually
make.
being able to, I find it hard to believe that we're more capable of creating something like that now. When you look at what people are trying to do to the document as it stands, it's like, I really do think that we've fucked up something along the line, because I just don't feel like this is where we're supposed to be.
I
No,
mean,
it isn't, and it's a mass hysteria
yeah.
of global proportions. I mean, everybody talks about the pandemic, and it's like, yes, that is an actual viral pandemic, but there is also a mental pandemic that
Yeah.
preceded it.
Yeah.
And this, the viral one exacerbated it.
Yeah.
And
Again, we're dealing when information and bad, good, bad information. Doesn't matter what it is, like that we can that stuff at such a high rate. And this is where we as people have to learn, deal with or
Yeah.
deal with this change in humanity, because that's how humanity. People like when the television. It's like the radio, the television. I hate using the past, but this is the point. Go through things, always do as human. The scale's
Yes.
greater now because of mass communication, but it's no different that everyone. Our world is bigger. That's the whole thing. Is that our world is bigger.
I don't know. I think there is an. I do have a sort of feeling of like, because of the way that the world is interconnected, because of the fact that now it is like, it seems to be like a power structure between certain people in every country of the world. Some people are fighting back, and it's like a different thing that they're fighting in every country. People are fighting back again, but previously, and you guys probably won't feel like this because you are the Americans, but like, there is always the fact that you guys have always been so separate, and this world superpower, that it's almost like, oh, that you've got this constitution, which means you've got this moral code, which means it is almost like having a superhero in your back pocket. Like, you know, so now when you're looking at America sort of teetering and tearing, it's almost like, you know, where else is there to run to?
Well,
Who else is there to ask to back us up? And that's
Exactly.
and I think that's the same feeling that you guys are having, because it's sort of like, because it's happening internally. It's like, well, if we're the be all and end all, then who the fuck is going to save us when our ass is in the dirt? Like, you know, it's a pull yourself up by, and that's why I think it feels so different. Is that there is like, there is no alternative. There is no backup. There is no one who's not included in this right now that actually has the power to shift a dynamic one way or the other. You know, the whole world is like teetering on this edge. And I don't like to be blackpilled because, you know, when you said to me earlier, well, what are you doing? It's like, you know, realistically, I only whinge about this stuff maybe to Alex and to you guys, and then I go out into my life, and I'm a delight, and I don't engage with media that I feel is made by people that hate me, and I don't give my money to companies I think want the worst for me. Sometimes I do because I'm lazy. Like, you know, I'm trying to actively do that and just put positivity out in the world and just try and build a sense of community amongst the people that I know. Those are the things that I do to go out in the day. And then I come on here and I sit and I whinge and I say, fuck everyone, because I'm a little bit bitter inside and dark.
Yep.
But
and
you know, and
and
I don't
wanna
like
point
to
out,
have this.
oh, go ahead. I'm
Sorry.
sorry. No, go ahead.
I was just going to finish off saying I don't like to have this sort of black-pilled mentality all the time, but there is almost like an overwhelming sense of dread that something's going to happen, and it's, instead of there being somebody that, you know, well, we could rely on this person to turn the tables. It's not. It's a case of you and the person stood next to you, your neighbours, like your community. We need to stand up. We need to start doing things actively because there is no one else to come in and save the day. So I think as a result, this social mental pandemic that we're going through does feel different. It does feel scary.
Well,
it does feel like an omnipotent presence. Sorry, words. Carry on.
And I want to point out again, you guys realize that America is just like meet somebody you think. I had a panic attack when a lot of people, like, my point is that like that is from an understanding that, like, again, I go back in our past, and it's like, you know, we've had many turmoil from the 60s, you know, the 70s, 80s.
Yeah.
Like, America has never, like, again, we were a superpower in other eyes because of the ignorance of us. People think they knew America. They don't. A lot of people don't know the first fucking thing about it, or how radical, how and again, we falter more often. Probably, we fail more often than, but our success.
Yeah.
And we used to, at least, learn from our mistakes.
Yeah.
And when sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, when I say about you being like the superhero in the back pocket, I'm talking about when you talk in a term of like global doom. Like, last time we were sort of fighting on what I feel like is such a conjoined union of countries who have such differing opinions on things, and everything's getting so dicey. Like,
Yeah.
it was across Europe and China and Russia and all of these places where it's all very tense right now, and we're
Yeah.
right on the edge of it. And all these things are going on. The last time we were in a situation like this, America stayed out of the fold for the most part, and then came in like at the last
Yep.
hour and was the force that turned the tide. Like, when you're looking at it now as a situation, and that divide that goes across the rest of the world seems to go straight down the middle of America as well. Like, it just doesn't sit right in your stomach, where you're just like, oh, feel that if something goes down now, it would be a really bad time for it to go down, which almost makes it more likely. And that's me being trying not to be black pilled, but I'm just sort of like, oh, every day I turn on the news and I'm like, oh, what have they done now? Like, watching all the Russia Ukraine stuff today, and I'm literally like, oh, why UK are you funding this?
And
Well-
again, it's because the money. It's because we can see. Again, you're not disconnected from it.
Yeah.
The
Well,
world is muddy and a dogfight. It is. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I wanted to kind of chime in because I understand exactly where. Oops, we lost.
Oh, there she is.
She back. There you go. I mean, I understand fully where you're coming from. I mean, we see this too because, at least I am going to say that I see it. I'm pretty sure the others too, but we see it because we were back into those times. We have that experience of growing up through that, and the various tensions that occurred and everything like that. And part of it is things are pretty great.
Yeah.
Overall. And the thing is we know, back then they said, the tree of liberty has to be watered with the blood of patriots. We know what's coming. We know that there's going to be some real serious poop hitting the fan.
Yeah.
And we know that there's going to be a bunch of us that aren't going to make it through to the other side. Just like many of the people that were in, the previous world conflict. They knew that there was a very strong possibility that they weren't going to make it through to the other side. But we haven't yet hit that tipping point. There are plenty of people that are sitting there and they're quietly fuming, and they're starting to hit things like, school board meetings. And the opposition is fighting it hard, get the FBI because these people are domestic terrorists.
Yeah.
No, they're going to a meeting and they're expressing their opinion. They're not burning buildings. They're not rioting in the streets and destroying stuff. Those are the domestic terrorists. And because more people are waking up, they're realizing that there's going to be a point where it's going to be, yes, this life has been really, really cushy and I've really, really enjoyed it. But now the time has come when we have to sit there, and I hate it. There will be bloodshed. There will be a lot of people.
There already has been.
The other part that at least when I looked at history, everything like that, that America has always had visions, just aware of them, much more aware of them.
Well, they've been amplified. It used to be the news. When the news came on, they said this happened. This thing happened. That thing happened.
I did see an argument the other day. The argument that I saw, Taranak, was basically like, was it just that you only had that one source of news, so you didn't have the alternate storyline? Like, if this court case had happened 40 years ago, like, it would be a different state of affairs, because the news would come on and they'd tell you what had happened, and you would have to take that as gospel, because you didn't have the tools by which to then go out and find the information yourself. Like, now, we know they're lying to us because when you actually look at the source information, you can see the difference between it. But getting the source information was harder. So is it that it's any different, or is it that just now we can see it's different?
No, it was different because
You're
well,
wrong, you young naive child.
uh-huh, yeah. The thing is, okay, back then, okay, journalism, was the
Seems
quote fourth
profession.
estate. That's what they
Yeah.
called it, the fourth estate. We had, the judicial, the legislative, the executive branch, and then the fourth estate was the press.
Yeah.
Their whole thing was digging up the truth and just putting it out there. This is what happened. They didn't put spin on it. They didn't say, well, we think. They just said, this is what happened. And you
Yeah.
drew your conclusions from that. They were honest. They didn't try to spin it. Media now, in pursuit of the almighty dollar,
Yep.
well, just telling you the news doesn't get us, extra clicks and extra money.
Yeah.
But if we sit there and spin it and make it outrageous and crazy, oh, people will click on the thing. I mean, basically, all the regular news outlets have become the equivalent of Reach for the Star, The Sun, Examiner. I was married to to an alien and had alien babies. We used to laugh at that stuff.
Oh yeah,
But now
And
it's
now,
rags.
the rags. We used to laugh at that stuff. The Onion came about entirely as a mockery site. And now the thing is you can't tell. You listen to the mainstream media and it sounds like the Onion. You're like, what?
Yeah, it's funny that the satire of the Babylon Bee somehow manages to be the most truthful news organization that there is.
And it's
The problem
really,
with the Babylon
really,
Bee is not that they're truthful, is that they're prophetic.
Yes.
Yeah, but the satire is so deep that it's like that by
It's the really good
spoofing the
satire.
news stories, they actually tell you exactly what the news is.
Yeah, like
yeah.
the best
in a
satire is
sarcastic,
exactly the
satirical way.
one that is perfectly matching with reality.
Yeah, because it's incisive.
Yeah.
It cuts through all the other stuff and you see it for what it really is. And like I say, back then the news was just here you go. Here's the facts. Here's the evidence. And you took it as it was. Now it's, oh, well, we're prepackaging this into this nice little thing. We're going to sprinkle some salt on this stuff and we're going to sprinkle this sugar on this stuff so that you believe that, oh, hey, I should be salty about this and I should be sweetening everything with this. And it's like, that is where, the breakdown has occurred, is the pursuit of money has made it so that trying to get the facts, now we have to go in and spend our time to try and find out the truth, where it used to be the truth was presented, period. You could sit there, here is the facts, you make a decision, and that was it. Now, oh, well, here's this side, and here's this other side, and here's this third side that has absolutely nothing whatsoever to do with it. Now you got to dig through it and go, well, which right? Which one of these is it? And you spend a whole lot of time that you should be spending doing other things. And you spend all this time trying to find out what's the truth. And people don't have that time.
No.
People, they do not have that time anymore. More. We got to more productive, more this, more that. We've got to do all these other things. So we don't have even the time to look. And so we end up having to make snap decisions on crappy information. And, when you have, at the time, he was the presidential candidate. But, when the presidential candidate sits there without knowing a damn thing about anything about the case, none of the facts were even out at that point.
Yep.
And makes a determination that, well, this person is a murderer and he should be, punished to the greatest extent of the law. He's liable to get sued for that defamation. When the sitting president has made that kind of a statement on somebody, that is the ultimate in.
We got the not guilty verdict, I think, but I believe Joe Biden said that even though he was deeply unhappy with it, he trusted the jury.
We lost you.
Yeah, you're really.
Sorry, it's my phone's going to be like messing up. To be fair, I've Can you
Yeah,
hear me?
we're gonna get. Yeah, we're actually gonna end very soon because it's
I
already
was going to say I've just seen the
7:30.
time and been like, oh my god, it's so late. But yeah, no, as I was saying, if you can hear me now, even after the not guilty verdict has come in, I do believe Joe Biden has said something along the lines of, even though he's deeply unhappy with the verdict, he
Yes.
trusts the jury system, which is just grossly incompetent, unprofessional, unseemly for a sitting president to say something like that.
Yeah.
It's gross incompetence.
No, it really just, but everything about him doesn't sit right with me. So I don't know.
Hey,
Well,
where's this approval's worst disapproval in history?
I know, right?
No,
Historical.
worst approval.
Well, let's
Worst
put it this.
approval.
Yeah, I never thought that I would be able to sit there and say I hate somebody worse than I did G.W. Bush. But G.W. Bush was a genius compared to him.
Yeah.
And that is I mean, that's like saying, Bozo from Bozo Circus was
Yeah.
a genius. I mean, it's like, oh my gosh. And the thing is he's a figurehead. He's a little puppet that they can trot out. He comes out there and
then they
Mr.
fill in the
Biden
blanks.
said this.
Quick, give him an adrenaline shot so he can speak for at least, he can follow the teleprompter for at least 3 minutes, and then we'll get him off stage again.
Yeah. And that's
But the thing is,
the thing. He's a puppet for the people that are actually doing the stuff.
Yeah. What were you gonna say? What were you gonna say, Happy? And then we have to.
No,
we're gonna have to close.
Yeah, this is like the last thing I'm going to say. And this, like, somehow he manages to have a worse PR team than the previous president. Because that Sakis girl is like, goddamn, where the hell did you get out of? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where did they get that? Because that's amazing.
Oh yeah. Anyway.
Bring back Kaylee McEnany. Oh, yes, please.
Oh man. All right. So,
sorry, Karen.
So I think that is going to be the end of the stream. So next week, like I said, I think the topic I want to talk about is self-denial and hypocrisy. Because yeah, that's gonna be my my next target of my serious talking. Serious in quotations. And yeah, any
We didn't even talk about the pilgrims.
I know, right? But that's okay.
Oh my gosh.
Anything else?
Not on my
last
end.
moment.
Yeah.
Any last comments or anything without going into a rant? Ashley says no.
I want to say this. What is it? Go ahead.
She said she doesn't have any comments. Yeah, she has no comments.
I'm gonna say that yes, it does sound like I'm going off on rants and stuff.
Yeah.
And to a certain extent, yes, I am.
Oh, you're welcome to do it. You are welcome to do it.
But
just remember, I'm going to bed.
The thing is the place that these things are coming from. The reason why I'm so upset is because my vision of humanity, of people, any people, is that they are so much better than they are acting right now. And I want to see everybody succeed. I want to see everybody thrive. I want to see everybody happy.
Yeah.
And when I see them in this self-destructive, I can't even describe it. It's lunacy. And I'm like, I've been there. I've been through the PTSD, the depression. I've been in, VA hospitals and all this other stuff. I've been through a whole bunch of the stuff that these people are saying, oh, well, I've been through this hardship. Yes, I've been there too. I'm still here. I'm still rational. I'm not playing a victim.
Yep.
And yet I succeed. And you can too. Every last one of anybody who's listening and everybody that we talk about, they can succeed. And I really, really wish and hope that somehow we can help them.
Yeah. And not
Yep.
everybody can be saved. Like let's get this our people. No, it's true though. It's not like never take my thing as like I think everyone is worthy of a second chance if they can find it within themselves. Change.
Yeah, that comes down to that evil thing. Some
Yeah.
people are just evil. They don't
Fact.
deserve anything.
Well, when you knowingly are doing something, but again, I've seen people who were on the bad end, or that far down, turned around, and came back out of it. I got one specific person that I'm going to call out. It was in Miles Strong.
Mhm.
I'm sure you guys have heard of him.
Not really
Uh,
He
familiar.
kind of came out of it.
he he. I got a lot of things to say,
He's still a bit of a nutter.
but hold on. But you can't change everything about yourself.
We're all a
Effort.
bit of a nutter.
Yeah, he's again. I'm not asking for perfection, and none of us should be. Because are you fucking perfect? No.
Sure, but I mean, the guy kind of swapped one end of the spectrum for the other.
Yeah, that kind of happens when you get attacked. But he still
But yeah,
stays very. But again, it's the point is that again we're not asking for perfection, and he takes criticism now. You
Yeah.
know? The thing is that have to that forget again. I want to get back to forgiveness, second chance, are worth something. That doesn't mean that you just forget what they've done and you don't sit there and just go, yeah, you can keep. I think that's the ultimate thing is that creation and that we want the actually be those,
Hmm.
you know,
yep.
Yep.
because I that is more powerful than again. Why is the mentor? Why is those kind of like ignoring the last 20 years? Why were they always the most powerful figure in life in our? Why are those the people to look up to? Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yes. I mean, it comes back to the heroes. We had people that we could aspire to that had ideals that we wanted to see in ourselves.
And now
And
we have to be
and
those.
and now we're yeah. And I mean, they had their faults too.
Oh yeah.
You know, Superman had his kryptonite and yada yada, all these things.
Yep.
And the thing is now they've been torn down to the point where there are no heroes. Who can you look up to? And the
Well,
people that have been put up as, oh well, these are heroes, are like, no, they're not. They're, if anything, they're more flawed
hey,
than your
yeah,
average, you know? And
yeah.
I know we all want to go for another half an hour.
Right. I gotta let this go. Okay, I'll talk more about this like next week. We'll hold on to that. But anyways, I love you guys. Happy Thanksgiving. Everyone say bye.
Hey, I had my closing thoughts. Fuck you.
Okay, go
I was
for it.
gonna I was gonna say we've been just sat there dooming and glooming for at least half an hour, maybe longer now. And it
Yeah.
is Thanksgiving, and I am being a British person. It's something that we didn't get to talk about. The fact that I quite admire the concept of the Thanksgiving holiday. It's a good concept. It's in the name. It's quite straightforward, and based on that concept, I'd just like to give thanks for everybody on the chat because I don't get to do this very often, and no, I appreciate being able to do this with you every week because yeah, it is. You do get it boils over all the shit, and I do rant on here. And it doesn't mean that I necessarily carry it over into my actions in life, but I appreciate having the space where I can sit here with you guys and put the world to rights. And I missed it the last month, so I want to give thanks for everyone and happy Thanksgiving to all the Americans in the house.
Aw, I love you too.
Mwah.
Yeah, so fuck you. And then I'll go back to being a bit of twisted little hearted bitch
Well,
next
yeah.
week. And that's all you're getting from me. That's all the sop you're getting from me. So enjoy it, Taranak. There you go.
Well, I do want to say from both me and I am thankful. Like in the spirit of it, I'm thankful. I'm thankful for my life. The negative. Here's the thing. I'm thankful even for the bad ones. You know,
They show us
because
how good it is.
Yeah.
yeah, but not only, but I'm also thankful again. Learning the uh, for me lessons of life and learning what you know there, there's something to be. I love this world. I love its insanity. I love all these different things. I love these problems. I love you guys. Even and again, the best part is we don't always agree,
No.
and I'm thankful for that. I'm
Yeah.
thankful for everything that I have been granted, that I cherish.
Yeah. For all the shit that there is in the world, there's still a lot of good, and I'm grateful for the bits of it that I get to appreciate, and I see you guys as being part of that. So, just wanted to put my bit of sentiment in there, and I'm glad it was reciprocated.
Indeed.
But
And on that note, bugger
everyone
off,
say
go get
bye.
some
Yeah.
sleep, and go
er-
have some turkey dinner.
Oh yeah, that'll be tomorrow. But all of you guys have a wonderful evening. Say bye.
Alright,
Bye
Say bye,
bye.
everyone.
laters.
And that was the spoken word with Raz. You all have a wonderful, wonderful Thanksgiving, and for the Americans and everyone else, just have a brilliant day. Bye.